Everybody, so let's get into this video on current market, right? It's not really a market update. I didn't want to do that. I just really wanted to talk about what has been going on the last, call it like 30 days, which is really weird. I think I did a post a couple weeks ago. I said there's just something really weird like in the air in real estate that's not making a lot of sense. Like buyers are still looking at homes, but nobody's putting in offers. Homes that have never had a problem selling in 3 to 5 days in the last 4 to 5 years are not selling. And I can't put my finger on it. And again, in real estate, usually it takes 30, 90, 180 days of looking back at data to really figure out what was happening. But I wanted to share some stuff with you all that got some notes here. And my car phone holder broke. So this is why I'm down here and I'm not driving. But I should be getting a new one today or tomorrow. I don't see an Amazon box up there. So we're pretty much right now at record inventory levels. I think it's this month. I think it was November of this past year. So just a couple months ago, it peaked just a little bit more than what we have today. But we're pretty much almost at 4,700 homes actively listed. And when I went back and basically look at, kind of what was the lowest amount there in in 2019. 2019 got done to like 4,900 homes. So we're almost at that level of pre-COVID, right? Nobody really knew anything about COVID in 2019. So we're almost there. Also, 2019, the highest inventory available was 6,886. So call it, 6,900 homes. But it dropped that quickly. It dropped basically almost 2,000 homes over the course of a year. So simple math will tell you that's about like, 20, a little over 20% there. Which is a lot of inventory drop in a year. So nobody really saw a pattern, but the market was, it was good. It wasn't that like multiple 30 offers per house good, but it was good. So looking at that, I went back and looked at May 2023, right? So May 2023, we had high interest rates as well. There was only 3,394 total homes kind of listed in the peak of May of 12 months ago. So 12 months, rolling 12 months. Today, we're at, again, about 4,700 homes, which is a 28% increase. 28% in 1 year is a huge increase. Giant increase. And this is where it gets scary. It gets scary because that is increasing at a rate that is too fast. We're going into what should be the peak time of real estate. School's pretty much getting ready to get out. Tax season's over. But it doesn't feel like it. This is honestly about the slow, I don't want to say slowest because it's not the right word. There's activity, but nobody's putting in offers. And if they do, it's a high likelihood of a fall through right now because buyers want all the inspection report done. And sometimes that's unreasonable. Sometimes they want some things done and the seller's unreasonable and won't do the repairs that they really should do based on the home. And I went and met with one of my sellers the other day and talked to them. Their home has had 12 showings on it, no offers. Really little feedback as far as saying like, hey, the home's overpriced. Nobody really gave us that feedback. So we know the home's not really overpriced. It's, not a good fit. But again, just a bunch of casual buyers. Have another home that's had over 20 showings on it. We've also done open houses on both of those homes and no offers. It's crazy to think that homes are going to show that much and no written offers. But we were pulling it up. We were doing some research. And within a mile, there were 3 other active homes, nearly exactly the same, meaning like square footage and price point and similarities. And so that's a lot of competition that really hadn't existed in the last couple years. And they're all priced around about the same. So a buyer's got options. And when buyers have options, that's not good for sellers. And I really do think, I haven't ever really said this too often, but I really do think that we're potentially going to start seeing prices come down in the high price points. I don't think you're going to see prices come down in that kind of like below 300,000 just because there's no inventory, right? That's still like a crisis in itself. And this call is more so for the total market. I think that under 300,000 is an anomaly, and those things still just move like hotcakes. But above 300,000, there's some problems. A 28% increase, and with rates kind of going up, I don't know if you see that, rates are pretty much back up to 7.5 again. They went down for one day. I seen it at 6.99. One day, it was like a half a day almost, and they spiked right back up, which is no good for anyone, especially not sellers, because buyers can afford less, especially not buyers because they can afford less, and then they get pickier. I don't blame them. So it's a really, really crazy market. I was also looking at this, right? Average days on the market, right? During like that peak COVID time, I mean, you could list a shed and it was multiple offers sold in a couple days. Right now, we're about 50 days on the market average time. That is wild. That is a very high number, probably the highest it's been since, we'll call it COVID. So I went back and looked at 2019. Now, 2019 peak market, when there was nearly 7,000 homes on there, it was at 70 days on the market. So if you almost look at it, right, 70 days, almost 7,000 homes. Today we have almost 5,000 homes, and we're averaging 50 days on the market. So that tells you, as inventory keeps going up, that's more time on the market. More time on the market, meaning seller price is going to have to start coming down, because you're going to see people list, they have to sell, they have to move. It is what it is. So they're going to take less money, less profit, because they're sitting on, potential hundreds of thousands of dollars of equity because they bought, before COVID or at the beginning of COVID. So they don't care, take a $25,000 loss. Well, when they take that $25,000 loss, it hurts all the home values around them. Just like when somebody sells around you and it sells for $25,000 more, it helps all the homes around you. Appraisers look again a lot at the most recent sales. You can't just say, oh, my neighbor sold for $25,000 less, and appraiser just ignore that fact if you're in a very similar home. They will look at that. Then let's say you were listed, you almost have to reevaluate your price because your neighbor kind of sold out from underneath everyone, lowered your price. Well, your home values actually probably came down. And I think it's looking like that's starting to happen. Again, on the higher price points, above 300,000, below 300,000, still nuts. But yeah, so I wanted to share some of those stats with you. And again, something's kind of going on. Can't put my finger on it. It's like there's buyers out there between me and my agents. I just left a showing. We're showing houses like crazy. We're meeting people. But man, it's buyers just, and I don't blame them. But their behavior is very weird right now. I can't put my finger on it. And we'll probably looking back at this video in 6 months and be like, oh, well, that makes sense now because of what the data is going to tell us. But I think as far as total closings and stuff, if inventory keeps going up and then we get into out of peak season, right? We get back into November, December, and all of a sudden we're at 7,000 homes on the market. In a slow time, right? Ooh, sellers are going to be in real tough positions to significantly having to lower their home value in order to sell it unless rates drop. Now, if rates do start dropping, I think that kind of solves the problem. And I think rates really need to get into those low sixes to get buyers a little more motivated on affordability. And that's kind of a number that you'll see investors, things will start cash flowing a little bit better. So investors getting back in. But I'm almost wondering, like, right, is because in the single family, we had this influx of these huge corporations, multi-billion-dollar corporations come in and buy these single family homes, flip them, do rentals, whatever it is. And it's almost like that they've quit buying, or they're just literally saying, hey, we'll buy, but we're going to buy bottom dollar, right? We're giving bottom dollar for everything. So it's almost like that they're cutting the market out intentionally, potentially, to then lower prices, to then they can come back in and gobble it back up. And then again, that's their goal, is to make money, gobble it up, and then resell it, maybe later on. They can afford to hold stuff when they're paying cash. So, but as always, guys, if you got real estate questions, let me know. I'm going to keep my eye on this. I'm going to try to kind of keep, some market updates, looking at some more data and some numbers as things kind of progress. The numbers for May should come out shortly. But, if you look back at my videos 2-3 months ago, I was doing a video. I was like, oh, market's back. It's booming. And it was. We had that very short, I'm going to call it a 6-week rush of tax season, right? People got their taxes. People were ready to go. They wanted to beat people to the punch, and they did. And rates were kind of like about mid sixes. I remember them kind of FHA and VA were down in the low sixes, and then bam, rates popped back up, and it's like buyers just went right back, right back in the turtle shell. It was like, nah, we're fine. Every now and then, let's stick to the house. That house looks good. They'll look at it, and then maybe they'll consider the numbers again. Like, nope, we don't want to pay, $2,300 mortgage payment for a $300,000 house. But always questions, feel free to holler. Have a great day.